Hey friends, it's Joby here with another review, another video. This week we're going to play Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. I'm doing this review for ozgamers.com. You can go read the full review there. Yeah, let's go through the basics. I reviewed this on PlayStation 4. Sony provided me a key for the game. I used an ElGato HD60 to record the footage. And that's about it. My PlayStation 4. It's my PlayStation 4. Yeah? Okay. So, let's jump in. What people are talking about when they declare something a walking simulator, they're talking about the popular narrative-focused games where the player meanders through a game while learning more about it as they go. The player interacts by looking and learning, and forward momentum is acquired directly via forward momentum. In Gone Home, you find notes from your sister. You arrive home and you experience a person's life as well you might by walking into a vacationing family's home and ruffling through their shit. It's endearing thanks to strong, absent characterization and fairly solid plotting, and so people connect with the house and the characters and the game itself. I could see what there was to like about Gone Home as much as I could see what people disliked. This is not the case for Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. Everybody's Gone to the Rapture redefines the concept of the walking simulator. Ignoring the hilarious instance where the game's creators forgot to tell anyone about the walk slightly faster button, Everybody's Gone to the Rapture appears to unlearn decades of knowledge about interactivity, narrative storytelling, and even optimization. It's a goddamn mess. When people derisively accuse a game of being a walking simulator, they're talking about a sense that the player's involvement in the game is unnecessary. In Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, I'd go further than this. The player's involvement is an imposition that the creators at the Chinese room couldn't work out a solution to. The idea is that in a walking simulator game, the player could be successfully replaced by an on-rails camera, and the end result would be the same. I didn't feel that this was the case in Gone Home. I always felt that my involvement was a necessity, and clever level design resulted in tension, a sense of discovery, and an overall feeling of involvement. In Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, I don't feel that the end result would be the same either. I feel like a camera on rails would result in a net positive for the game. I don't feel unnecessary to the advancement of the plot. I feel like I am actively hampering it. Every moment I spend in the game, I feel like I am learning to dislike it more. As a game, it involves you walking, painfully slowly, through the English county of Shropshire, discovering what happened to all the people. You occasionally happen upon some glowing gold orbs, and they recreate memories of the townsfolk who were going about their business as their world was coming to an end. It feels like an apocalyptic version of A Country Practice, or for you younger kids, Emmerdale, where the residents of this sleepy English township go through the motions of their lives, unaware of their imminent demise. It's compelling in the same way that soap operas often are. Character conflict creates drama for invested viewers to keep track of, all the while remaining familiar enough to be relatable to your own struggles. In the case of Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, these conflicts are related to the overarching theme of spirituality, but they're made relatable through common elements like petty power struggles, gossip, and loss. Through complex and detailed characterization, Everybody's Gone hopes to give you a reason to continue exploring the world it has created as you unravel the secrets which lie within. What happened to all the people? Where did they all go? Who am I? Beyond being a floating form that leaves footstep sounds wherever he, she, or it walks. It's the Stephen King approach. Character complexity is derived from an overload of information, resulting in a sensation that you really know the characters. Unfortunately for Everybody's Gone, this approach doesn't work. King's approach appeals to people's baser instincts, using sex and violence to hook readers into thinking they're learning intimate secrets about the role players in his stories. The best the Chinese room can manage is a man who has a drink with an ex. Worse is the fact that The people are recreated with glowing shapes, and they're often indistinguishable from one another. If I hadn't put subtitles on, I'd have never been able to determine Father Jeremy from the Doctor, because they sound too much alike. Many of the women sound too similar as well, which meant I had to rely heavily on subtitles to work out what was going on in the game's main narrative sequences. It's shocking to me that nobody ever brought up the fact that glowing golden orbs are virtually indistinguishable from one another, and that perhaps the voice actors should be working very hard to distinguish themselves from one another. Everybody's Gone is a freaking mess. Anytime the golden orbs appear indoors, the frame rate shits its pants, which is a shortcut to motion sickness for many people. When people call the game pretty, they're talking stylistically. Gorgeous combinations of colours work to create a visually appealing scene every time you look around. But there are dozens of games which look better. There are graphically more impressive games which feature complex systems working together and against each other, which don't shit the bed as hard as Everybody's Gone does anytime the main function of the game's storytelling triggers. We've already talked about the run button, which the Chinese room neglected to talk about at all. Their official explanation was that, at the last second, their testing told them that people preferred to trigger the ability to run themselves, and they then simply forgot to mention that they'd bound the ability to a button at all. Probably because the game only uses buttons primarily as a method of interaction between the player and the game world, tying movement and viewing to thumbsticks and the occasional gold blob trigger to the 6-axis controls of the DualShock 4. This claim that they changed the run speed to a player-triggered event, this makes sense to me because if running was an automatic event, like it had been originally according to the developers, it wouldn't be so utterly jarring to have your run speed reduced to 0 when you enter buildings, or certain areas. This is how you know the player is an inconvenience, an unwanted trespasser in the Chinese room's creation. In order to manage a level of pacing they spent a lot of time putting together, they will actively remove any sense of player agency as they see fit. Pacing is oh so important in a game like this though. It's vital that Everybody's Gone to the Rapture gives you time. If they force feed you their narrative too quickly, you'll never stop to think about it. If they take too long, you'll get bored, more bored than you already are. They need to give you just enough time to make you sit there and think, whoa, what did that conversation between the two golden blobs mean? Maybe it was important. That one golden blob seemed angry at the other one. That's probably going to be a thing later. Wow, this game is pretty deep. Because when your game offers the player this little meaningful interaction, you need to find something else to offer them. Why not faux depth? And rest assured, the game offers precious little meaningful interaction. You don't have to activate all the golden blob moments by waggling the controller around, just some of them. The trigger for a controller-activated golden blob moment appears to be entirely arbitrary. Most interactions with the game world are arbitrary. There are light switches that switch but don't turn on any light. There are doors that open and others that don't. Sometimes, when a door won't open, a knocking audio file or a door jiggling audio file plays, but at other times nothing happens at all. For most of the game, an ajar door or gate means that gate can be opened or entered, but then you suddenly come across the other doors or gates that simply can't. Nothing in the game world can be picked up or looked at. There's no zoom key, so you can't look at things in more detail. They don't want you to pay attention to the details, because they never really did either. You experience this world exactly as the Chinese room intends for you to experience it. For a game which deals so heavily in themes of faith, Everybody's Gone shows surprisingly little faith in the player. The golden orb leads you from cutscene to cutscene, assuming the entire time that you're unable to find these things on your own, because Everybody's Gone isn't about you discovering anything. Gone Home was endearing because it felt like each new morsel of information was something you discovered. Your detective work led you to uncover the mysteries of the home. That's not the case here. You're not detecting anything. You go where they allow you. You see what they want you to see. You hear the audio files on tapes inexplicably dotting this sleepy English town. If the game didn't allow you to move around or look around, it would be better off. You wouldn't waste your time exploring empty houses full of superficially detailed minutiae. The reason people notice details they otherwise wouldn't in games like these is because, by design, the game reduces the player's level of interaction to the act of viewing. And so a player who strives to do better, for whatever that term is worth, that person will always notice more things. They will strive to interact with the game world as much as possible. Players who mentally break games down to the elements they are constructed from will look for patterns in the game so that they can take the game apart. It's not petty nitpicking that sees games like Everybody's Gone suffer further scrutiny for minor missing details that your Call of Duties wouldn't. The way we interact with games is responsible for that. And that leads us to the only possible conclusion I can draw from this experience. You are what's wrong with this game, dear gamer. Your existence is an affront to its majesty. It is a gorgeous town with a spectacular soundtrack, and your very presence taints it. Holy shit, I just realized. It's meta as fuck. A brilliant commentary on the nature of the relationship between the creator and those of us who experience creation. Hell, maybe it's more than that. Maybe it's a meta commentary on the nature of our relationship to God. The big guy upstairs created all of this before us so that we might bathe in his glory. And you're using his infinite generosity to sit there and watch some dude bitch about a video game on YouTube? This is it. I'm spiraling out of control. I've been wasting my life. Everybody's going to the Rapture except me because I'm sitting here, pissing away my life, criticizing a game, and for what? Because it was contemptuous of my time? Aren't I just as contemptuous of it? Sitting there playing a game I fucking hated for 6 fucking hours just so I could get to the end, just so I could shit on it from my not so high horse? Fuck. Go outside, Job. Go do something. You can't even walk that much faster than the floating camera thing in Everybody's Gone. So where do you get off bitching about that anyway? Do something with your life, you waste of space. What have you created ever? Make a desk. Bake a cake. The Chinese room might have made a game you hate, but at least they evoked some reaction from someone, you fart knocker. If this was the Chinese room's intention, if they meant to create a glorious meta commentary about the nature of the game developer and the gamer, or God and all of life, or whatever, then bravo. They fucking killed it. The fact that the only games they've ever made are walking simulators makes this grift next level, like that old Chinese man with the fishbowl in The Prestige. Walking simulator as a term started as a dismissive joke, and Everybody's Gone to the Rapture is the punchline. A shaggy dog effort determined to mock the idea that games need players. It's not meta, it's not clever, it's banal and tedious, and if your narrative-focused do-nothing game wouldn't work as a halfway interesting short story, then it won't be better just because you force people to walk slowly around a wholly uninteractive game space while you drip-feed them unconnected plot points. 2.5 out of 10. P.S. Do not wander into a vacationing family's home and ruffle through their shit. That is literally a plot device from every serial killer movie ever. It's not a good idea. I'm going to leave you with my favorite moment in this entire game. The one bit that elicited some sort of emotional response from me. It's actually pretty gorgeous.
Stephen? I can hear the planes. It's the government coming to rescue us. You can come out now. It's all gonna be all right. I can hear the jets coming. It's like when Eddie came home. It's like your dad coming home again. I'm here. I'm down here. This way.
Thanks for watching. That's my review of Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. Hit like, hit subscribe, unless you've already subscribed, I guess. I'm sorry if I just took a giant heaping dump on your favorite game. That's just the nature of games criticism, I guess. But if you've got any comments or arguments that you'd like to have with me, hit me up in the comments below or shoot me a message on Twitter at JobyJojo. Anyway, I'll catch you next week. See you later. Bye.